Ready? Play.
Hey guys, welcome to another Last Ball Drop show. As yesterday, Jake is already in the chat, screaming and shouting and waiting for this show to begin. So let's actually begin it. Hello, Vansh.
Hello, Damien. I'm going to be really excited today, just because Jake is very excited. So, but but nonetheless, I think we have quite a lot to talk about. I should say, uh, quite a lot of matches still yet to be played. Round one matches, in fact, tomorrow. But I think from the matches that we did have today, there's actually quite a lot to unpack. So, pretty excited.
Yeah, it was supposed to be 87. It wasn't quite that, but we still got a lot of action, at least compared to the previous days. The previous days compared to Tuesday, basically, where we only had 8 matches to talk about. And yeah, maybe let's start with what Ghosty wants to talk about, or maybe doesn't want to. I'm not sure how to interpret the giggle, but yeah, let's get to Sebastian Korda. Everyone's dark horse, everyone's semifinalist, everyone's well, even he himself said that he is among the Wimbledon title contenders, and like I know people have been like already screaming at Twitter that this is like karma, or like he says that he's among the Wimbledon title contenders, and then he does this. But I don't think he was wrong. It's just that he
Yeah,
ran into a very tricky opponent, and that tricky opponent was like insane on the day.
yeah. I mean, Wimbledon in the early rounds. I don't. He's always won his first round match every single
Yeah,
year. So
that's better than
for
Nadal.
him to come through, and I think he's like, yeah, exactly, and he's like excellent against top 50 level players, like in the first round of slams. I mean, he's had big wins like in the early stages. Even last year, he got to the third round. So he's like so dangerous, and especially the faster the surface. I'm thinking like Dubai, like super fast, super quick, where he last made a really good run. He just played really well in this match, and he gave Korda absolute fits. And we saw Korda just like person, particularly in the last two sets, he just did not look comfortable at all. Just on his back foot very often, and and now the question is who's going to come out of this section, because there's opportunities for at least three or four guys.
Yeah, I mean, last year I guess there was a very similar situation in a certain section, and Cam Norrie was the one to prevail. So maybe again,
Yeah,
he has that chance there. He kind of has to beat like a number of big servers and maybe Andy Murray to get to the quarters. Like that. That's basically where he is right now. I mean, maybe if Chris O'Connell beats both Medvedev and Vesely, I guess, then that's also not a big server matchup. But that's kind of where Nori is right now. He hasn't been in perfect form, but I think also his like um people talk about his recent showings as if he was just losing the opening round in every single tournament, which was not the case at all. So maybe he is actually going to be the one to pick up the pieces, but that also opens up the door for sure for everyone who wants Andy Murray into the second week and beyond. Like that really opens up the door for him as well. I guess for the most part, the reason why people weren't picking Andy Murray to go like ballistic this Wimbledon was probably Korda. And right now, if he beats Tsitsipas, yeah, it really opens up. And yeah, Vesely just coming out, blasting, sometimes even blasting his second serve, like was his first, 11 double faults, but who cares when he was actually winning so many points
yeah,
with these. And yeah, the guy has an insane record against top 30 players at Wimbledon, which is 6-3. And compared to like elsewhere, it's just unbelievable how he does it. And yeah, even though he hasn't played as many Wimbledon first rounds as Nadal, and I don't think that record is actually more impressive than Nadal, but still to play a slam 9 times and to always win a match there. He also played qualifying one year and also won a match actually, but lost in the second round of qualifying. But let's stick to main draw, let's say, and you've got 9 appearances
yeah.
and 9 times you win a match. You would have to do some real statistical research to see if there are any other players who have it, like players of, let's say, the status of Vesely, because I'm sure there are players who, well, actually, maybe even at the very top, you would be struggling to find a player who has this sort of a record at a slam, and
He's basically
among players like Vesely,
anti Carreño Busta, with Carreño Busta not having won a match at Wimbledon in the first round,
yeah,
which is
there was
still one of the
also.
most absurd stats
Mhm.
to me. Like I still don't understand how that never
For a
happened.
while there was also this crazy stat that Marco Cecchinato, I think, in his first
Yeah,
12 or something main draw appearances at slams, he basically made a semi and lost in the opening round like 10 other times. Right now, of course, he has actually managed to get some wins
yeah,
on the board as well, but he has some that's still a pretty crazy record.
right.
Maybe he will actually get a win at Wimbledon. He is up a set, I think, against Jari, right? So, but probably going
Yeah,
to be once at all. So yeah, that was Sebastian Korda losing, which I don't think either of us or realistically anyone really had. But the draw was tough. The draw was tough. So we
yeah, and
we could
I think
kind of
actually
imagine being close.
this quote that people are talking about from
Yeah,
Queens, I think he said this after he beat Nori. Is that right? Like I think he beat Nori in the.
I don't know which presser it was. I can't help you.
He said this like, "Oh, I'm one of the favorites," and then yeah, then he lost to Alcaraz in the semis. But it could have been the match before Nori. Maybe I'm misremembering it, but yeah, I mean Queens for sure. But was it was it right after he beat Nori, or was it the match before that? But I think it doesn't matter either way. Yeah, you're always putting yourself at a little bit of a risk when you say something like this. Even though I did think he was right. I mean, I had him in my semis like most people did. I don't think that was an unpopular opinion. In fact, it was everyone
A
was
very popular
putting that
opinion.
as a
Yeah,
hot take when it was like not at all a hot one. Like it's
yeah,
especially if
exactly.
everyone is saying the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
Wesley, like Jake is talking about how his backhand stays very low in grass. I definitely agree. Like it's
Yeah.
perfect for the grass. It just skids, and uh, I guess who else do we want to talk about right away? On the
You
men's
can
side.
throw in someone. Tsitsipas and team they played a pretty
Yep.
exciting match. I mean, it was probably less exciting than people make it out to be, but there's a lot of emotional involvement, I guess, for a lot of tennis fans,
Yeah.
especially with
I
team
thought the
now that
quality
he's coming back.
was not that high.
It
I thought the
was
quality was
okay.
not actually that high. It was just kind of intriguing, and it had you on the edge of your seat. And
Yeah.
a few shot selection errors here and there and could have gone the other way. I'm thinking of like 7-all in the fifth set tiebreak.
Yeah.
Uh, Cross court forehand in the net. He probably would have been better off approaching to the Tsitsipas backhand, just because like I mean it is by far Tsitsipas is a weaker wing, and he probably would have had something to work with. But he misses that, and then he actually got the mini break back. But then, yeah, Tsitsipas finishes it off with a forehand pass. But I
Where
mean, it
again
basically
you
came
would
down to
kind
that
of
because
think,
neither
right?
player returned well at all. Like it was, you were basically it was basically a get out of jail free card to serve to the opponent's backhand in this match, because basically even second serve returns were not coming back for a lot of it. So it did feel very much like serve bot realm, a lot of it, except for the first set yesterday, which team like connected on some good returns and then he got the break. But I
Yeah, but
think
it was like
so far in
one
this
game.
matchup, it's actually been Tsitsipas who's been a little bit more clutch of the two, especially in the deciding breakers. Because obviously you have the ATP Finals match, where he won the third set tiebreak, and then of course the Madrid one, and then now this one. And I wonder where team goes from here, because it was another really good effort, like it was in Madrid. But we'll see. I did mention yesterday that I like the faster surfaces better for him, and I think his forehand just does a lot more damage. He doesn't have to think as hard, and he's just getting more purchased right away. Um, but I wonder like how he's going to do now. I'm assuming he's going to be playing one of those post Wimbledon clay 250s, just to get some of them. Extra courts at the U.S. Open in the second half of the year. He can maybe go on a run, especially indoors.
Well, he's supposed to be playing even Salzburg in a couple of days, and then of course Gstaad, Umag, Kitzbühel, the whole shebang of the of the post Wimbledon clay season, like he should. Naturally, especially Kitzbühel has been a nice event at home for him over the years. But yeah, enough said. Really, that the returning from both players was not that great. At the same time, it definitely improved from Tsitsipas. From compared to what we saw on Tuesday. Like on Tuesday, he basically couldn't put a return in. It was just two shanks every single game. Today,
Yeah,
much cleaner, much cleaner. At least for the first two sets, and then it just got really even. There was that crazy breakpoint save with a volley at
yeah, that was
what
big
was it, like
at 3-all,
free
right?
all,
Or
free all, yeah, in the
yeah,
fifth, which was pretty fantastic
and then
from
another really good
Tsitsipas.
volley in the
Mhm.
fifth. Uh, I think to go up 4-2. He hit two
Yeah,
really good volleys,
possibly.
like one. Yeah, one forehand, and then team went for the downline pass, and then Tsitsipas had some good athleticism at the net, and he finished it off with a backhand
Yeah.
drop volley, which
Once
kind
you
of
go to the net, you don't have to hit your backhand anymore, so that's
yeah
probably a good idea for Tsitsipas. But
yeah.
yeah,
That's definitely one
the
way to hide
shanks
the
were
weakness.
definitely. Yeah, definitely, and like the shanks were definitely not as common today as they were yesterday. So
Yeah,
eventually, the expected winner pulls through, but it was certainly much tighter than expected. And we already have this matchup on the screen, so I guess let's talk about it.
yeah,
Tsitsipas playing Andy Murray in the second round. What are we expecting from there? I personally I still think that Murray is the slight favorite. I saw that's how it's priced too, but I'm not sure if I really like this matchup for him that much. It's just not
yeah,
so supernatural for Murray to come out and just pressure someone's one corner. Like I think he still leaves quite a lot of space for Tsitsipas to run around the forehand and control the rallies. I don't know if that's actually good for Murray against Tsitsipas on grass. Then again, like it's kind of impossible right now to have much confidence in Tsitsipas, I suppose, and just less time on the backhand if Murray is able to come out of his comfort zone and just attack it, take time away. I don't know if it holds up, but it's not that clear. It's not as clear as it should be.
yeah. I definitely agree. Murray should go in as the favorite, but not a huge one. Like it's more like 53-47, that kind of thing. Just because, and it is still like a huge step up from the first round and this year in any of the three that he's won, even though it is to Tsitsipas on grass. The IQ thing is a good point. Alina bringing it up in the chat. Like, just Murray can just do more with his backhand, and if it gets into those, he can just stand on that baseline, absorb pace really really well. The return is going to be big, and that's where maybe he's not as clinical as he used to be especially on the return of serve, Andy. But what he has done is, I think, the last 1 month or so, he's tinkered with the service motion. So I was listening to his press conference, and someone asked him, and then he said, "Yeah, no, I actually have." It just looks a little bit shorter of a backswing, and he's not doing the full kind of. He used to take a long time to get to this position, and now it's like just much more shortened, and it feels like he might be prepared to tinker with that to shorten points, but more importantly, like he's also going to have the crowd behind him. It's going to be like the last step on center court tomorrow. So I mean, I heard some people say that it's even more of an advantage for Murray because Tsitsipas is playing over 3 hours today. But maybe in a good way, it could actually help him. It could actually help Tsitsipas just because he has all that like think that much in terms of like you have a quick turnaround. Sometimes it might actually be beneficial. And I don't think the match today was supremely physical or anything like that. Was more stressful than physical for sure. But
Yeah. It's probably not going to be that much of a factor. Ghosty is asking about like topspin high balls to that Tsitsipas backhand. Right now grass is not what it used to be, but like they're still going to bounce certain, a certain degree lower than they would on clay. And
I don't think he
is
actually
it
even
is it
needs the
really a
high
good
topspin.
tactic? Yeah, is it really a good
I
tactic
don't think it
against
is because
Tsitsipas?
Tsitsipas doesn't have a good slice. So even if you keep it really really low, he's
and
not going
and
to
you
be
also
able to
give
hurt
him
you on.
time. Like you don't really want to give him time on the backhand. So I
Yeah,
think if he actually gets a pretty high ball, he's going to do something with it. Like he's going to
yeah,
have the
more
time to
time to run
prepare.
around.
Yeah,
Mm,
or even more time to run around. So I'm not really sure
yeah,
that would be the right tactic. And on grass, it's probably not at all. It's probably just way more beneficial, yeah, to either slice it to that wing or go, just with a pretty flat strike at the Tsitsipas backhand, which Murray definitely can do, especially cross court of his backhand. He should be able to get a very unpleasant ball to that Tsitsipas backhand corner there. It's just a question, I guess, for me. Does Murray have a slice? Of course. I mean, he has a fantastic slice. Like
yeah.
half his grinding on grass is done with the slice, and then yeah, it's
One
pretty
of the best
unbelievable.
slices for a two-hander
Yeah.
by far.
So,
Yeah,
yeah, I think for me it's like a question of how much Murray will want to risk. Like how much will he be able to, yeah, just step out of that comfort zone again. And yeah, if he is willing to go for, I don't want to say broke, but like is really willing to go for it tomorrow, I think he should be taking that one. Um,
the good thing is he
yeah,
doesn't really need to redline. If he can
no, no,
just,
no, no. Hmm.
it's not like he has to play out of his comfort zone or anything, but just be willing to be a little bit more on the front foot,
Yeah,
especially after the return. I feel like, yeah, um, it's a good
yeah,
matchup for him, just
if he
tactically.
just slices the ball and like allows Tsitsipas to hit these inside in, inside out forehands, I don't think that's gonna end well. But if
Yeah,
he's just a little more proactive, which to an extent is not maybe entirely natural for him, but of course he's played like that all a lot of times over the years, and also he has improved the serve, so that should be helpful, especially if Tsitsipas is shanking
yes.
the backhand return a lot, which happens like half the time. So yeah, that would be probably really good for him. It's an interesting matchup. It's certainly one of the
Yeah.
best matches that we've had scheduled so far for center court or court one, and I mean
Yeah.
scheduled, not
And I think this was
added there.
Tsitsipas' first time on center court, which is crazy
Oh,
because this is his sixth Wimbledon.
so
I don't think he's ever played.
against Nick it was court one or something.
Yeah, yeah, it was court one.
There was also that 2018 run that he had, but I doubt he played like
No,
anyone.
it was
Yeah.
all on court one. He played Isner in the fourth round. That was court one.
Okay, yeah, Isner, Isner was not good enough, yeah. And then lost to Fabiano and TFO. Okay, TFO
Yeah.
the match again, but yeah, it wasn't center, definitely not. It was like one of the more
Oh
outside
yeah,
courts
somebody in the
for
chat is
sure.
mentioning Ben Shelton. Yeah, I mean
Uh-huh.
Shelton definitely has a shot at this quarter.
Yeah, I just don't think he beats Murray. That's
Mm.
kind of all I have in mind. That I think Murray just neutralizes all of these way too serve oriented players, and I'm not saying Shelton will stay way too serve oriented, but like right now he still is probably. And yeah, I just think he would really neutralize him. But provided let's say Tsitsipas gets through, and then you have Shelton with a very fine chance of beating him in the third round. Um, I don't know. I mean, that time when Shelton actually has to start getting results instead of grabbing experience is actually kind of coming. Like
Yeah,
it should start happening pretty soon. I think if the North American hardcore season doesn't work out for him, that's when you kind of have to start worrying, because basically
yeah.
this year he has like a very negative win-loss record and only that Australian
Yes.
Open quarterfinal to really look at. But like for now, it's
And of
still
course he's
fine.
still very poor on the return.
Mhm.
He's still very poor on the return. Like one
Yeah.
of the worst returners in the top 50, maybe second or third worst. But you know, doesn't really matter right now for the first half of this year. But yeah, I definitely agree with you. Like after Wimbledon, there's going to be more scrutiny in terms of getting some more wins.
Yeah, if he's like not doing
Um,
anything in Atlanta, Cincy, or he even scored 2 wins last year, right? Like
yeah,
if he fails there, then that's where actually something has to change, because yeah, then he might be actually in some real danger by the time Australian Open comes in. Um, yeah, let's look at something else then. We also had another match from Novak Djokovic, playing Jordan Thompson. How did you? Yeah, did you get to watch a lot of that? And was Thompson in any way close to snatching a set? of Novak?
He was semi-close in the second set. I thought he played very well in the second and third sets for the most part, about as well as Jordan Thompson can play. Really, um, actually gave a pretty good account of himself. He's playing some big ball right now. This Thompson, so he made the match more interesting and entertaining than I think many thought going in. So in some ways, Djokovic actually got a little bit of a test. He played another tiebreak again. This time only made one unforced error. Yesterday he made two. I'm just kind of keeping track because Djokovic has this incredible ability to just obviously go well mode in tie breaks and um, while still playing with a good amount of aggression. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was pretty standard in terms of I didn't really ever think Djokovic was going to lose a set, but so far he's actually had to work harder than maybe some people thought with two tie breaks and even in the Rokachin went up an early break in the first set and then had got Djokovic into another tie break, but I think it's like smooth sailing pretty much overall. Like just level by step, Djokovic is just going to raise his level like he usually does, and I'll be interested to see if he plays either Echeverry or Wawrinka. We've never actually seen Stan versus Novak at Wimbledon, so that would be very fun to watch. Even though Stan is very much not the player he was back then.
Yeah, but like still, I think Novak doesn't want to play him, like regardless
Yeah,
of where Stan is, right? Like he knows what he can do. He knows what he can do to him in the best of 5 set format. Like the grass not really looking that grassy with every single year. That's also good for Stan. So I don't
yeah,
know. I would still love to see that match. Honestly, Echeverry Djokovic as well, but Wawrinka Djokovic just has that, of course, the history
yeah.
behind it and
I would want to see
all of
that more
the
for sure.
yeah, me too. Like both
Especially since
matches.
we didn't get it in 2015. I was really hoping we would then, and I think Stan has
Wawrinka
like
Gasquet, right? Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I think that's two of Stan's biggest regrets in his career is that Federer in 2014, and then that match at Wimbledon, which I think even if he lost that semifinal easily, it still would have been pretty big achievement to get to even get that far, get that close to eventually winning or like
Yeah,
winning all four. But
yeah, and also he was like set up right on Federer and
yeah,
actually
like
playing like so
match
well for
points, yeah,
yeah,
like
so
pretty
well for a
bad.
set and a half. And
Yeah.
yeah, just briefly on Jordan Thompson, as you guys probably know by now, I become a Jordan Thompson fan for like a month every single year, which is the grass season, which is basically where his game is only fun there. So yeah, he served incredibly well. I was glad to see that because he has been improving it so much, and some really insane power sometimes on it. And you still don't think of Jordan Thompson as like a huge server, but probably it's high time we should. And yeah, he just wasn't able to like turn that defense into offense at all when Djokovic was in control of the point. So basically, after every single one of his serves, Thompson just wasn't able to get back into these rallies at all. So yeah, there was definitely a difference of class in a way, but I think yeah, he gave a very good account of himself. And by the way, bring back the mustache, Jordan Thompson. I cannot look at him right now. Like I just don't know who I'm seeing even.
Yeah.
It's really weird to see a clean shaven Jordan Thompson again, which of course back in the day was a normal sight, but the last few years, yeah, without the porno pedophile mustache, however you want to call it, it's just very weird for me to look at Jordan Thompson right now. Yes, Jake Thompson definitely
With
did
him
net
and
rush
Steve Johnson,
much.
right?
Yeah,
With the
Steve
Mario look.
Johnson, Alex de
Yeah.
Minaur. Yeah, there are a few
Oh
of
yeah,
these.
even Alex Demir.
And Jake, yes, Thompson did net rush a lot. He was also serve and volleying. Like sometimes he was even serve and volleying on every single point. Sometimes maybe even too much. 2 points away from losing, he I think played like a very weak half volley and good pass. But
Yeah.
it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do, and he really kept it very very close.
He had
Just
a good
wasn't
game
really
plan.
able to do
Yeah.
anything on return.
His game plan was very solid, actually.
Yeah, he did what he needed to do. It's just that he wasn't able to like disrupt Novak at all when Novak was on the
Yeah.
offense. But of course, that's like not really a thing. Maybe that he could have done anything about. Like that's just the difference in class between them that still exists and will probably exist always. But Still, I really appreciate how much the guy has improved his game for sure. There was a question from Ria as well, which a few moments ago about a match for yesterday. I mean, for tomorrow actually, but we could just answer it. Hi guys, just wondering if you think Medvedev could beat Manarino in round two. I guess the phrasing of this kinda makes me think that maybe you think that Manarino is the favorite. I guess all opinions are fine with this match. Manarino had that injury in the final in Mallorca, but clearly
Yeah.
he's fine since he just cleaned up Shevchenko today. I mean, I didn't see it, but like if he's just winning this so like in such a straightforward fashion, even with Shevchenko not playing on grass before, he clearly was not, like, he was clearly moving fine at least. So yeah, I think whatever happens, like, it's just going to be such a workout for Medvedev. Even if he pulls through, there's going to be a lot of play that he's like not comfortable with. There's going to be a lot of patterns that he doesn't like. The same with his potential match against Fucsovics in round 3. So basically, the next 2 rounds for Medvedev are just going to be a nightmare. Unless Marcos Giron pulls through Fucsovics, then maybe it's a lot cleaner for him, and if he beats Manarino, But yeah, I just think it's going to be a nightmare for Medvedev, whether he wins or loses.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it would be quite something if Medvedev just came out and beat Manarino in straight sets.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just such a tough matchup for him, especially with how low the backhand stays, the wide serve on the ad side, especially also Medvedev a little bit vulnerable on the second serve, even in some of his best runs this year. That second serve is just not held up that well, and I could see that being a problem, given how early Manarino takes the ball, and just with all the confidence in this matchup. So yeah, he does not want to see him. But I guess you would think 3 out of 5 sets, Medvedev would be able to problem solve a bit more, and maybe his returning gets better throughout the match. Maybe he's just plays at a level that Manarino just can't reach, and just controls a lot of points with his big first serve, gets out of jail a bunch. But honestly, Medvedev does not have a good 5-set record. He's 3-9 in 5-setters, and even the major that he won, I mean, he only lost 1 set. So it wasn't like he was forced to go to the distance that often. So, I mean, apart from the Australian Open in 2022, we haven't really seen Medvedev play multiple 5-setters in a tournament and come out on top at least once. So, yeah, I feel like this is a pretty important match for him, similar to how it was important today. I feel like this is like, you got to be winning this match if you're Medvedev.
Yeah, we basically keep saying that like he has a Wimbledon left in him for sure, or maybe even a couple of them. But like if he loses here, he's actually going to be 28 next year going into Wimbledon,
next year, yeah,
and without a single even close attempt, like without a quarterfinal if he loses to Manarino. So yeah, it is very important for him, but certainly quite unlucky to potentially face Vujovic and Manarino in the first 3 matches, whereas like both of them are probably some of the toughest opponents for him just stylistically in the entire draw, just because of how low they keep the ball. Manarino with his wild flat ball striking, and Vujovic with the slice. So yeah, both just a nightmare, a nightmare matchup. Definitely a good match to watch as well. I love Manarino in these matches where like he has a very clear idea of what to do and executes that game plan no matter what. And yeah, Medvedev, I guess, scrambling around and trying to figure stuff out is also pretty interesting most of the time. So yeah, I'm definitely watching that tomorrow if it happens tomorrow, but hopefully no more rain. Yeah, what else out of today? Milos Raonic beat Denis Novak. I was not watching that much, honestly. I was just reading through my timeline, and like people were saying that Novak made some huge misses on big points, but that while Raonic's game was not as good as it was in Hertogenbosch, I'm talking just off the ground, it was like the serving was still untouchable for the most part. So maybe he actually has a shot at Tommy Paul as well in the second round.
I think just purely with that serve, he has a shot, because his serve today was like I looked at the serving stats, I saw bits and bobs here and there, not too much. He's serving like out of his mind sometimes. Three aces a game sometimes. It was quite what you would expect from Raonic. I don't know if he
No,
actually has the
Ghosty.
athleticism to win longer points in ball, but it should be fun to watch.
I'm also getting the Magnum PI references, Ghosty. Tom Selleck played on Friends later on, and it was also great. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. Francis Tiafoe Ibn Gu, that was supposed to be the blockbuster, and it kind of wasn't. Such a weird story as well, with it being having some heart rate issues. I think it got to like 187 beats per minute, which is crazy. And then he also apparently fainted or
Oh,
something like that in the corridor going off the court. So yeah, just a wild
yeah.
story. Hopefully he's going to be fine. It wasn't like hampering him to a point where he couldn't play. We have no idea like what the exact impact of it was on the match. uh, what the exact impact of that was on the match, but certainly it was still very fun to watch, even if it's straight sets. And after that, I actually feel a little better about Tiafoe going forward into this event. Whenever he needed the serve, it was there. Like when he needed most, it was just coming in clutch. Of course, it's like a big advantage for him against Wu, but you probably wouldn't tell it by the stats. But on the key points, it was a huge advantage. It's just that he plays Streaker again, so it's like another very similar matchup to me. Tiafoe Streaker, that's like very similar.
Mhm.
Both players in both cases, both players are like insanely talented, and talented in like the sense of the word that we very often use it. So just artistry, flair. They have a lot of that. It should be aesthetically pleasing as hell, and yeah, I hope that this one is actually not going to be free sets, and we're actually going to get more action in Tiafoe Streaker tomorrow. Yeah,
Yeah,
what
I
else
do
do
have
we?
Tiafoe going. I do
Hmm.
have Tiafoe getting to the quarters in this tournament. I just like where his game is at right now. He looks poised for a pretty big run, and I think his draw is actually not terrible. So
I think his draw is actually awful, but like if you have to play Wu, Streaker, and Dimitrov in the first 3 rounds, that's a nightmare. But
I
but yeah,
guess,
I mean,
but
he could pull through.
mm, yeah, could be.
Yeah, it was a 10 minute MTO more or less, maybe even longer. But like I feel like they maybe gave him a bit of a pass because it was such an emergency thing. Like yeah, with him just not feeling all right. I'm not sure what the exact rule is anyway. So I think it was fine. In some cases, that's how it probably should be done. Where yeah, the situation is basically an emergency, and you kind of have to allow it, I suppose. Roberto
Can we
Bautista
talk
Good
about
lost as well.
yes,
He was a
yes.
pretty
I
popular
was gonna
dark
mention that.
horse too.
Yeah, Safiullin from 2 sets to one down. That was. I'm not terribly shocked, just because like I know RBA hasn't had good major results lately since making the Wimbledon semifinals 4 years ago, and I guess getting to the fourth round earlier this year in Australia. Like I just didn't have that much faith in him, like some people did in this tournament. Purely because like I just don't think he's in his or where he's just declining, and like Safiullin just kind of has the game to where like the backhand to backhand rallies from Bautista Agut, and like just the rhythmic nature of the way he likes to play. I knew that Safiullin was not really gonna be trapped in those rallies, and he was gonna like be able to win points on his own terms, like shorten these rallies up. I knew that like I was watching this a little bit yesterday, and I felt like even though RBA was 2 sets to one up, like it was not. Uh, but I didn't see any of the 2 sets today.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people, and including myself, thinking that Bautista Agut might actually go deep here. It was more of a reflection on how poor that quarter is, or like the section rather, maybe
Yeah,
not the quarter,
so wide
because yeah,
open. That's
right now Safiullin plays Mute, and then he would play Pella or Guido Pella or Arul Mayo. So you switch Safiullin for Bautista Agut here, and he's like surely in the fourth round. I don't know if Safiullin will be actually. And then in the fourth round, he would potentially play Shapovalov, Barrere, Brody, or Ruud. So that's basically why many people had Bautista Agut going deep, because you just see that this section is just super wide open, regardless of
Yeah.
what happens, because the seeds just aren't that threatening. Shapovalov Barrere is like a 50-50 match for me. Ruud
Yes.
has his issues, and like against someone like Shapovalov Barrere, he's probably going to struggle, I think. And
I think
yeah,
he might struggle
Jory,
against Brody as well, because Brody with that
it's
lefty serve
possible.
out wide, the type of players that have bothered Rude
Flat
in the past
backhand.
have been lefties, yeah, with flat backhands. Like even I mean, Ben Shelton, Cincinnati lefty, like
We
Peniston.
had a surprise
Yeah.
appearance on the show. I don't know if you noticed, but
Who did?
John showed up for a few seconds and was like showing your thumbs up because we said that Liam Brody could threaten Casper Ruud,
Ah,
because
okay.
Liam
No, I
Brody
mean, I
is
actually think
famously
so.
a friend of the show. No,
Yes,
no, no.
yes.
I agree too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Was that
I mean,
JJ Wolf?
last year he beat Schwartzman, didn't he? In Wimbledon.
Yeah, he did. But that was like the first grass court round that he's had ever. Like his grass court records are
Yeah.
like what 30% win rate or something like that. And that Wimbledon last year was actually the first time he ever did anything on grass, which was kind of wild to me because it doesn't seem like the disparity in his results should be that huge between hard
Yeah.
and grass. And he's even had runs on clay. Like the guy has like
Yes.
something for every surface. I think with the flat backhand he has something for grass. With the topspin lefty forehand he has something for clay, and everything else about his game is basically about hard courts. So the guy basically has it all, in a way.
Um, but maybe the most surprising result was Rinderknecht not winning against Muller.
Fair. I mean, personally, I don't think of Rinderknecht as like a phenomenal grass courter. I've always kind of thought that on clay he has just a lot more time to protect his backhand and like actually likes the higher bounce. But big
Yeah.
servers on clay, guys who serve in volley as well, because that's how Rinderknecht rose the rankings. Of course, they're also going to be pretty dangerous on grass most of the time. And yeah, Miller, no one really knows what he plays on grass. Like last year, he was absolutely awful, and in 2021, I think as well. But this year, Alexander Miller has like improved his serve. He is being like slightly more proactive. He is willing to go for more. So maybe it actually makes sense. I don't think it really changes much for Alcaraz. Some people said that it just makes his road much easier, which I get because Rinderknecht pushed him in Queens. I just think that in a best of 5 set match, and also with how much Alcaraz has improved in terms of his movement since that early encounter in Queens, I don't think Rinderknecht was pushing him either. But
Yeah.
yeah, I can understand why it was intriguing to people, and Jake just says that he also would have loved to have seen it. And again, Matthew, the Jari match was stopped at 6-4 Cecchinato and then 4-1 Jari in the second set. So it's going to be finished tomorrow. Yeah, as Jake said, basically in the chat.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Sinner and Djokovic are the only two that are in the third round on the men's side.
Yeah, I just saw like a stat breakdown in a sort of on Twitter where someone noted down like how many players are in the third round, how many players are in the second round, and in the third round, yeah, it's just 4 players. In the second round, it's 103, and then
Yeah.
32 players are still in the opening round, including 14
Right.
of them who are yet to start their first round matches. So that's
Oof.
kind of wild.
Yeah.
Um,
I do think actually we might be able to catch up. The only thing is, yeah, Thursday and Friday. it's actually not
Uh,
supposed to rain. But even then, like it's
Today it was also
and
not supposed to rain,
then it
and
did.
yeah, if it actually rained, then probably all 87. I mean, if it didn't rain, then probably all 87 matches would have been started, and that
Yeah.
already would have been very helpful. At least every single round one maybe would have been played, which was like the main goal, I think, for today. But yeah, I think it's happened before. I seem to remember maybe that year when Federer played Evans in the third round. So it was 2016. I think it
Mm.
was raining quite a lot as well. And when he reached the third round, there was a lot of comments, about preferential treatment, which always happens at Wimbledon, it seems. But anyway, yeah. Do we have anything else on the men's side that we need to talk about? I think this might be the moment when we get over to the women's matches.
No, I would just say Berrettini looks a lot better than he did in
Oh
Stuttgart.
yeah,
This was actually a very good mental effort for him to win that third set, especially in the tiebreak against Sonego, and he looks better. I don't know if it'll be enough to beat De Minaur and then get to the fourth round potentially, because I mean you also have Zverev in that section. You also have Husler, because it looks like Husler is going to beat Watanuki. I mean it's 2 sets to love right now. Watanuki is up 5-2 in the third, but yeah, that section will be interesting. I don't know for sure who's going to come out of it and play
yeah. I think
Alcaraz
whoever
and
wins out of Husler Watanoki is really tough for Zverev, and a match that I really
yeah.
want to see, just because these guys just play an all or nothing style that, yeah, sometimes the opponent is like an extra on the court. I actually forgot about the matches that were
Oh yeah, I'm
interrupted
excited about Feast
today.
Fokina for sure.
Um,
That's a match
no,
I
no,
really want.
I just want to say that I forgot about the matches that were interrupted. But yeah, you're right. You're right. Of
Okay.
course, you mentioned that a few times. It's a shame that they still haven't started their first round match, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, let's talk about the women's then now.
Yeah,
I suppose
sure.
we've had also many of them finishing today. Let's maybe from the top. Annette Kontaveit actually won a match against Stefanini, so I guess right now we'll be looking at where they put her on the second day. Where did they actually place her? Court 18. Okay, so right now she gets an actual court with seating, not just with like standing room and some limited benches. So people who were advocating for that are definitely happy. And she's playing Mari Buskova, of course, in the second round. So yeah, did you catch any of that one? Kontaveit Stefanini today?
Not a lot. I saw some at the end of the second set. Yeah, she was serving pretty well, playing good first strike tennis. I don't think anything in particular really just stood out. She just looked healthy enough to like actually, yeah. I mean, be competitive in the next round, and like it seems like she's gonna be able to go out on her own terms at least, which is good. It wasn't like she was limping around or particularly struggling, especially when you have back problems. Like your serve really suffers. But I didn't really notice anything in terms of that. So yeah, I thought it would
Yeah,
actually be
goes.
tougher because Stefanini played a very good quality match against Shea in the final round of qualies, which I did see a little bit of. So, but very different type of matchup, obviously.
Yeah.
But Shea doesn't really play like anyone else. So
Yeah, and Stefanini doesn't play like anyone else either, right? I mean, she also has a two-handed forehand, I think. So
two-handed forehand, yeah.
yeah, so it was like a two-handed forehand matchup with Shan, with Suecia and her. And yeah, Ghosty 18 is like a show court. It's like the fifth, sixth biggest court. It still has like a stand next to it. It's basically center 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
and then 12 and 18 are the
Is
are
that
the
where
next
Isner Mahmood
biggest.
was at? Is that 18?
Yes, that's the
Is
that's
that
the
18
court that
was
is
in,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So
yeah.
yeah, it is one of the biggest ones. Yes, and
Mm.
the last year's semifinal. I wanted to say just that. Yeah, it's just great that she is actually competitive. I wonder when like any doubts will actually start kicking in. Like how many rounds does Kontaveit has to win for her to like start rethinking her decision or something like that. I don't think it's one
I
round. I
mean,
don't think it's maybe even two. But like if she gets to like a quarters or something, would she actually start
That
thinking
would be
about it,
like,
maybe.
then she might. That's like her best result in a major. So
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking about it, you know. And how wild would it be if she won this event? But of course, that's yeah, that's kind of science fiction for
yeah,
now, but you know, maybe. And Buskova is even if she's a quarter finalist from last year, I think she's definitely not one of the toughest players she could have faced there in the second round, given that you know, in the first two rounds basically she had to play a seed or at least be scheduled to play a seed. Tatiana Maria also lost the semifinalist from last year. No
yeah,
repeat of that run. You kind of like
yeah.
well,
Not that
she's
surprising.
not dropping the points, right? She's not dropping the
No,
720 points, which is okay. But at the same time, you kind of have to think about, you know, if she had these points, she would have had such an insane carry high ranking, right? And that was kind of stolen from her in a way. 54, no, sorry, 46 is her best ranking right now, and it was actually in 2017. But you know, if you
yeah,
added 600 700 points to her ranking right even right now, I think she would have been like comfortably in the top 30. So yeah, that's a bit
yeah,
of a shame, but of course these points would be dropping right now.
yeah, for sure. What about your? Did you get to see any of Kostyuk Sakari?
Not really. That was probably like out of the top eight seeds, that was probably the most fragile, I guess, along with Goff maybe. But Goff, I thought that she was gonna get, well, she was at least going to get to play against an opponent who was, you know, just gonna slam balls into her forehand corner. Of course, she lost to Kenny, which recovered. But like Sakkari was also pretty vulnerable, and yeah, Kostyuk is just like always there as the unseeded player and waiting for her breakthrough. I don't know if it's going to come this event. You know, she's kind of been waiting around the corner for years now. But yeah, I just felt like maybe with Sakkari potentially playing Kostyuk, Badosa, and Keys in the first three rounds, or maybe even Victoria Golubic, you know, a former Wimbledon
Yeah,
quarterfinalist herself. Like one of these players is bound to probably take her out, just because it's like a very tough draw. Badosa, of course, would have been ranked a lot higher if she didn't have to miss like every slam this year before Wimbledon, and yeah, Kostyuk is just always there as a potential threat. So, and also number 36, right? So she's also one of the lowest ranked non-seeded
yes,
players, or
yeah.
highest
Probably the
ranked actually,
toughest.
depending on how you look. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely agree with all of that. Sakari though is just disappointing the way she, like, I mean, Kostyuk raised her level. It was always going to be dangerous, especially when you win that first set 6-0. I just didn't think that was. I just didn't see Kostyuk not raising her level after that. And that did start to happen, but from 5-all to the end of the match, Sakari really played bad. She hit like 20 unforced errors just within those 8 games, basically, and it was like there was a point where she couldn't get a ball in the court for 8 or 9 straight points midway through that third set, and Kostyuk didn't really have to do that much besides hold serve a couple times, and then like Maria just really like the pressure just really got to her. I think like it sometimes does in some of those semifinal matches. So that was a bit of a shame because I was expecting a really competitive, yeah, third, and instead she was just so ultra nervous and tight that actually it was very comfortable for Kostyuk to win that third set. And yeah, it just rounds off like a really poor string of early defeats for Sakari. I guess if you take out the Vokova matches the last couple of years at Roland Garros, because there's no
Yeah.
shame really losing those. But I mean, like apart from that, or maybe if you want, even if you want to take out the Pagula loss last year at the Australian Open, all of our other losses have not been great in these early runs. So and it's not like she can't do it in a major because she did it twice in 2021, and she makes these semifinal runs all the time outside of the slams. So um,
Yeah, and then loses in the semifinals all the time.
yeah, yes, it seems largely mental. And I also
Let's.
don't really like her backhand. That is one thing. It's just very stiff, and it just yeah. I mean, it doesn't really. It sometimes could serve better. That would maybe be my other critique. her slice is definitely one that needs to get better. But she's actually working with Philippoussis, so I wonder if how long that'll actually last. If it'll last longer than the relationship between him and Tsitsipas. We'd see, but yeah.
Yeah, I was about to head there anyway, and Jake also is saying that he needs
Yeah,
my
Swiatek.
take on Iga's performance. So I was actually about to just say that the first two matches on center court were women's matches, and they were both equally bland and boring. Kasatkina beating Burrage and then Świątek beating Soribę Stormo. I mean, I just think that we've long established that Świątek will basically not struggle against a player like Soribę Stormo here. Maybe even she
Yes.
could be it could like be slightly easier for her on grass. She just pounces on these forehands, and with the placement, with the precision that she had today, combined with all the power, Soribę Stormo just has nothing to do against that. The serve as well, like Soribę Stormo was not winning points on return, and this was like Poland's revenge for the Jabeur-Frank match that we had yesterday, because we talked about Jabeur hitting 33 winners and Frank hitting just 4, and today I think it was 27-3. So that's the revenge for Poland. Hopefully Hurkacz-Choiński is like an all Polish match, so maybe actually nothing there related to the fact. But yeah, I just didn't think that any of these were Kasatkina, Burrage, or Świątek Soribę Stormo or anything to write home about. Like, I am super confident about Iga right now when she's playing someone like Soribę Stormo. Am I really that confident about her when she's playing let's say Petra Martic? I don't know if it's going to be Petra Martic, but maybe
it could be Diane
not.
Perry too, but
it could be Diane Perry too, and like both in a way like have a lot of variety, but at the same time also some ability to stand up to her from the baseline, which Soribę Stormo just doesn't. And I think we really just established that. When do you think that the draw will start getting more interesting, tougher for Świątek?
Probably a little bit next round, but then after that,
a little bit, yeah.
I wonder actually
Bencic
the
in
other one is
fourth round?
Bencic. Yeah, if Bencic got to the fourth round, that would be interesting. I would want to watch that.
Kasatkina probably has a better matchup against
so there's
her
definitely
than on grass than clay, right? Like, I don't think it's really close. So maybe
Yes.
that could be interesting
But I
too.
still would probably
Otherwise,
back Iga. It would be, it's still generally a very comfortable matchup. I know, like that one time they played an esport or whatever, but I don't know. I don't put
and
that much stock
also
in it.
like over the last few times they played, Kasatkina never really showed any intent to change something up. Like, compared to Goff, even, Goff at Roland Garros had a game plan. Kasatkina last two times she played Świątek, she just didn't whatsoever. So maybe Martic, maybe Bencic is the answer, I think, for me. But otherwise, it's kind of hard for me to see anyone troubling her in her quarter. Kasatkina maybe as well. But it's not crystal clear. And then the semi, I think, could be potentially tricky. I know she, like, the last time they played, she absolutely demolished Kudermetova, but maybe on grass it's not going to be that easy. And Vekic as well. She has been a tougher matchup for Iga in the past as well. So like one of Kudermetova, Vekic, if that's indeed who the semifinalist is, that could actually be something dangerous. But Ghosty might be right too. That she will just play 6 warm-up matches and then a match for the title where, like, we'll still have no idea whether she actually holds up against a player like Alexandrova, Rybakina, Sabalenka, Kvitova. Like, that's also a very, very much a possibility that before the final we'll actually still have no idea whether she can win against a player like this.
Yeah, I very much agree with all that. But yes,
I see that in the title of today's show we had Ostapenko, but I don't think that's a match that we have to talk about. Really, she basically crashed Pliskova. Sorry, Pliskova going out. Yeah, that's what we have to talk about for sure.
I have no idea what happened in this match. I did not catch a ball.
Me neither. I read some tweets that Stefanovic was slicing a lot and just basically, managed to frustrate Pliskova. And yeah,
Right.
that's more or less what I read about the match. So yeah, we're not gonna give you guys much intel when it comes to Pliskova Stefanovic, but of course we cannot really watch it all or follow it all. Yeah, but Kvitova, maybe let's talk about that, because Jake is asking how far do you see Petra Kvitova going. I think she's, just before even touching on her match against Paulini, I think she's right up there with all of these women that I mentioned earlier.
has
Like
to
when
be.
I mentioned, when I mentioned Alexandrova, when I mentioned Rybakina, Sabalenka, or Ostapenko, I think she's right up there with them. And yeah,
Yeah.
basically right now, she's also in this slightly weaker quarter, I would say, because she only
And
really has
Jabeur is a very
Jabeur.
good matchup for her in the 4th round. So if she
Yeah,
plays Jabeur,
oh, that's a
that's
fourth round.
yeah.
Oh, you're right. That's a fourth round, not a quarter. Yeah, I'm stupid. So she would actually have to face like Ostapenko, Rybakina, okay, in the quarters. Okay, so she just has a good draw to the quarters,
Ostapenko is
basically.
50-50, but Ostapenko is 50-50, but I probably bank Petra a little bit more mentally.
Hmm.
But she's like, yeah, that could actually go either way. Um, but like she has to be like considered a third, fourth favorite at this point, at least.
Yeah, she is right
So
up there with them, and
yeah,
she also did like today against Paulini, even though she lost the set. I think she was actually pretty comfortable. Great effort
yeah,
from Paulini to keep fighting. Sometimes trying to grind her down, and sometimes just really stepping into the court as well. Paulini has that kind of pocket rocket kind of feel to her, for sure. I remember seeing her live last year and like not really realizing that she has this sort of pace of the baseline. Not understanding it when just watching her on a stream or on TV. But certainly she has that ability, and yeah, just against Kvitova she couldn't really do much for the most part, but she did very well to snatch a set. But I don't think it's really a bad sign or anything for Kvitova. Her level was pretty high, and of course with the way she played this year in Berlin and in Miami, that's this sort of a level could get her extremely deep here. And also the fact that she withdrew from Eastbourne after Berlin, I think, was a very
that
smart
was smart.
decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you do a women's bracket? If so, how far did
I
you
did.
have Petra? How far did you have
Where
Petra
did
going?
I
All
have
right.
Kvitova? Let me actually pull up the bracket because I have no clue. Like in the bottom half, I know that I had Alexandrova beating Sabalenka, and
Okay.
I'm actually not even sure who I had in the final. I think it might have been Alexandrova, so maybe I had Kvitova losing to her in the semis, but I will just check
Interesting.
it.
I had Alexandrova in the semis, losing to Petra. So
Oh, maybe I had the same semi, but the other
I think
results. I
yeah, and then I had
think it might have been the case.
okay, got it. Yeah, I know I had Kvitova Iga in the final
Okay,
when I did
I
it,
don't think I had Petra in the final,
and
but
then
yeah,
I had no idea who's gonna win that. Yeah,
yeah, my semifinals were. My semifinal was Kvitova Alexandrova, and then I had Alexandrova in the final. So we basically had the same semi,
nice.
but and
Who is
the
your
other
semi
result.
semi on the top?
Kudermetova.
Oh, okay, I had Vekic. So, but yeah, I think
Yeah,
we said like whoever's gonna win that third round match
exactly.
like maybe
That's
has a
like
good chance.
Kudermetova
Yeah,
slash Vekic, basically. My semifinal pick is Kudermetova slash
right.
Vekic. So yeah, that's actually very similar. I didn't even remember because I was doing like it like super casually. But once you started talking about like Kvitova Alexandrova facing in the semis, something actually rang
Yeah,
close to home. And yeah, apparently that's also my semi, but I just went for Alexandrova instead of Kvitova. I still don't know if like going so ballistic on Alexandrova isn't maybe a bit too bold. But
right.
the way she's been playing the grass court season and like the serve return game, the flat ball striking, she is in a way a bit like Rybakina was last year, I think, where
Mhm.
not that many people like not many are talking about her, but like her game just makes total sense on grass.
Yeah,
And
and I still need to see Rybakina play Cornet because that could be tricky.
mhm. Just because Cornet is always
That will
tricky
actually tell
for
me a lot
top
more than the
seeds.
Shelby Rogers. Always, yeah, just always. That's just a rule.
What makes Vekic so dangerous on grass?
Yeah.
I think she just has some fantastic timing, ghosty. Like she, the low bounce is really nice for
Super
her, and
flat. She hits so
yeah,
flat, and the ball stays so low, and she has a big serve,
big
pretty
serve
big
as well.
forehand. Oh, and I also really like her backhand drop shot down the line because it's so unpredictable, and when she hits it, it's actually very well disguised, and you're like, don't see it coming.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, and she just has a lot more belief, and Pam Shriver is doing a good job with her. So probably all those things. And I actually thought the
friend of the
Berlin
show,
final was very high
Pam
quality.
Shriver, friend of the show.
Yes.
I don't know if Donna Vekic is a friend of the show. Maybe John interviewed her at some point this year. I'm not actually sure. I remember some
Maybe.
players that he did, but I'm not sure if Vekic was there. Yeah, as Jake is saying, I mean Vekic has won many titles on grass over the years, and you can see it. Like I
Yeah.
think her ball striking just really looks the best on grass, and she has always been like an underrated just another rated hitter. And I guess she actually hasn't had a Wimbledon run, which is kind of interesting.
Mm.
Wimbledon, she has just a
So I
6-8
guess that
winless
would have
record
been
prior to this
fourth
year.
round, right? I think she would have made the fourth round
Yeah,
at least once. Because yeah, she's
yeah.
made fourth round everywhere. Fourth slams.
Fourth round is 2018, and she
Okay.
beat Sloane Stevens in the second round. Sorry, first round. Interestingly, because she is
Yeah.
playing Sloane Stevens right now, right?
Yes. Yes, keep up that Craig Gabriel scandal. I like this kind of anyways, yeah. I'll leave it at that.
What was it about? What was it about? It was about like sun.
Yeah.
No, I can't remember what it was about.
He basically just embarrassed himself on Twitter.
Yeah,
If I'm
I
giving a
remember
bit.
that thing. But is there is that is Jake writing this in the chat actually a reference to something that we said, or is it just like more random?
To that Twitter
Okay, okay.
Twitter feud thing. Yeah.
No, I remember
But
that. Yeah, for sure. Like
yeah.
yeah, the guy is terrible.
Yeah.
For
Thank God.
sure. But yeah. Anyway, anything else we
Uh,
need to talk about on the women's side?
Sloane Stephens, do you think she can go on a run here? She did very
Well,
good today. So
she is playing Vekic,
yeah.
so I kind of have to say no. But she obviously is such a mercurial player. Like you never really are able to predict what happens there. What happens when someone Stevens takes the court. She was really good at Roland Garros. I don't think she played since. Did she play a grass warm up?
No, I don't
I'm
think
not
so.
actually sure.
I
I don't
mean,
think so either.
yeah, I don't think
Yeah, she
I
didn't.
don't think she did.
So
Yeah.
yeah, just a good match today. You never know, but it's not a very clear match
Mm,
for Vekic. I think like there are definitely opponents that you would much rather play. Yeah, and that's, as Jake says, she is either an 8 out of 10 or a 1 out of 10,
true.
and there's like basically no middle ground between them. Of course, a Grand Slam champion, ranked 400 or something, right? But yeah, from time to time she still plays at that level, but from time to time she's also absolutely terrible. What about the Kyrgyz drama?
Was there any
What
drama?
Kyrgyz drama? I'm not
I
sure
mean,
I
he just
know.
basically just pulled out, right? Is that all?
Yeah, that was like 2 days ago or something, I think. So yeah, Madison Keys just crashed Sonny Cartel, which I think everyone kind of expected. I'm excited to see how Keys against Golubic would potentially look in the second round, but
Yeah.
as much as I am a big fan of Victoria Golubic, the one-hander always gets me. However, I don't know if I see a future for her in this tournament, given that she has to play Keys.
The
Um,
aesthetical, evangelical nature of the one-hander.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and of course, especially now on the WTA tour with basically no one else hitting a one-hander. Diane Parry will probably be the leading
Yes.
one-handed player, but otherwise, it's like even hard to find anyone at a pretty decent level. Tatiana Maria, I know, but like she doesn't hit a backhand basically. Like Mayo Hibi was there a few years ago, and you would also struggle to tell whether she actually has a one-hander or a two-hander because she just slices the ball. So it's like Golubic and Parry. So Yeah, one-handed backhand fans on the WTA
Yeah.
side. Pretty dire times. There's a Daily Mail article.
Yeah.
What? Chris Goldsmith? Chris Goldsmith, is it the tennis talker, or so did he make it into
Oh.
the Daily Mail? I don't even know. But yeah, the guy really. So like his tweet actually made it into a Daily Mail article. Nick Kyrgios is told to stay away from Wimbledon after stunning fans by pulling out of tournament with new injury just before he was due to
Oh
play.
yeah. I
No
saw that he
integrity
was taking a lot of digs
whatsoever.
at Kyrgios about
Yeah, I
pulling
mean
out,
he's basically taking digs at everyone.
except for British
Every
players.
time.
He loves those.
Yeah, but like he basically accuses everyone of everything all the time.
Yeah,
So
a bit much.
but yeah, I even with this Kyrgios thing, like I understand what he means, that if he pulled out a few hours before the tournament, like another alternate into qualifying missed a place, but like the same as with Struff, Monfils, and these guys actually
I wonder if he
withdrew.
said the same about Andy in 2017 at the US
Of
Open.
course not. Of course not. And the guys like
Probably not,
Struff
right?
or Monfils, right? Guys who pulled out just after the qualifying started, literally. And Kyrgios actually
Right.
went to. Um, Kyrgios actually went to Wimbledon. Kyrgios
Mallorca.
actually did
Yeah.
media day, right? Like
Yes.
it seems like he really intended to play. So I don't know if he's the right target in this spot, but people are nowadays farming likes on basically saying anything negative about Nick Kyrgios, and
Mm.
well, that's just what it is. There's also well, what I mean, Kirit, is that when someone is just slicing the one-hander, like everyone is slicing with just one hand. So it's not really like preserving the nature of the one-hander if you the art of the one-hander, let's say, if you're just slicing it 99% of the time, because everyone slices with one hand.
Yeah.
So that's why. I refuse to believe, Jake,
College.
that you haven't heard of Chris Goldsmith, the tennis talker on Twitter. Um, I,
Yeah.
I, I mean, even if you don't follow him, you're gonna see his tweets like 90% of the time. But
Yes.
well,
I will say this is a good day for Wimbledon round 2 matches on the WTA. Like you have so many good ones.
mhm.
Um, you know, Perry versus Martic. You have Martins against Fidelina. That should be good.
Okay.
You
Okay,
have
I understood that
Andreeva.
today was good, but and I was like, was it? Okay, tomorrow. Yeah, yeah.
Andreeva Krejcikova. You have Fernandez
Yes.
Garcia. Yes, please. You have Collins
Another
Bencic.
rematch, right?
Yes, please.
Fernandez Garcia was at the Australian Open, right? Was the second
Yeah.
round, and I think they also played one more time this year. On
Yeah,
Indian
Indian
Wells.
Wells. Yes.
Yeah,
Both of them went Garcia's way, but they're always close. They're
they
always
were
one.
close. They were
Yeah.
close. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Cornet Rybakina, we already mentioned. Stephens Vekic, we mentioned. Even Potapova Juvan is a good match. That could also be interesting. And then, yeah, I mean, honestly, these are all pretty good. Kristea Ostapenko. Yeah, tomorrow's just a good day for
For
women's round
tennis,
two.
for
Yeah,
tennis.
and also even on the men's side, yeah, true.
Tomorrow is a good day for tennis.
Yeah,
Jake is also talking about Azarenka's draw. I know he's a fan, and yeah, I mean, my sentiment is basically what you just said, that if she beats Kasatkina, she has an excellent opportunity, but at the same time, her form just is so poor right
yeah,
now that I don't even know if she beats Podoroska tomorrow. Like she probably does, but yeah, just right now
probably.
against Kasatkina, I just wouldn't favor her. Not really sure about the matchup on grass, but definitely the form just isn't really there.
Yeah, and of course, Mukova hasn't played her first round yet. Neither
Yeah,
has Andreescu. Neither has Kalinina.
Muchova playing Niemeyer in the first round, and then potentially Noskova, who also hasn't played her opening round against Calfi.
Oh gosh.
So there's definitely some wild stuff there. And on the men's side, I think it's Zverev Brauer who haven't played. There's also Davidovich Fokina Fields for sure. And there's also Zhang van de Zandschulp, I think. Is
Yeah,
that
that might.
all? I think maybe that's all. I think
That's it. Yeah.
maybe there are just three. But Yeah, that's of course a pretty big setback for most of these players.
Yeah.
Especially in the best of 5 format.
Yeah. Speaking of which, do you think if Fritz doesn't get to the fourth round, that would be bad?
If he loses to Ömer, I think so. If he
Probably.
loses to Otte and like Otte is,
Oh, yeah.
peaking, maybe not. But
I
yeah, if he
honestly think
loses to
maybe Galan
Molchan,
can take him
sorry,
out.
Molchan.
I
Yeah,
kind of
but like
like
if
Galan on fast records.
he is probably well, I would say that he is like moderately like he is pretty close on clay to and fast records for me. Like the serve and the forehand
Yeah.
for sure. He doesn't have the same movement that he does on clay, and probably just isn't able to stay in the rallies as long as he usually would. But he's definitely more potent on fast records. But like I still don't think he should be a threat to Fritz. Like I still would consider that a bad loss. Otte, if he found his peak game from
Yes.
the grass season 2022, maybe that's not a bad loss. I think Taylor would still treat it as such, but it would be like,
Yeah.
just I think from the outside perspective, it would be more acceptable than losing to Galan or Ömer. Yeah, I'm forgetting
Fritz
Ömer.
is so hard on himself. Literally, he could lose a
Yeah.
semifinal of a slam in 5 sets. He'll
I mean, and sometimes he would be right. Like when he lost to Nadal last year, he would have been right to be hard on himself. So, yeah, I guess it depends, like from the angle, from which you're looking at, but kind of has to make the forefront, I think, for him, for his own for his own confidence. He kind of has to make the forefront, because I'm sure, like, losing to Sinner, of course he would be angry, it's normal, but like, it's nothing compared to what he would feel if he lost to Molchan, Imer, and also if he lost to Hanfman. But I think that's more on the fact that it's the first round, right? That's the big deal, rather than losing to Hanfman, of course, because everyone knows by now how strong Hanfman is this season, and of course Fritz actually had the chance to learn it himself in Rome. So can you guys hear Vansh? I stopped hearing him. I don't know if cannot hear you at the moment. I don't know. We'll see if Vansh can find a way to. I hope it's not me, because if I just told him that he has some issues and it's actually me, but I see that it should be fine. I'll check some. I don't know. I'll check something on YouTube just to make sure, I suppose. It's maybe not the perfect way, but there could be some issues. No, my YouTube is fine. So I think it's on Vansh's side. Yeah, no mic for Vansh, says also Jake and Ghosty. Vansh, speak louder, says Ghosty. Yeah, I mean we were we were finishing up anyway, right? So I think if you cannot fix it in like the next minute or so, I think we'll probably be wrapping up anyway. And I'll just say goodbye, and John will close us out. Vansh is actually rejoining the site. So yeah, let's see what happens when he comes back. Yeah, it was kind of funny because he just started doing this, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? But Vansh will be here with you in 15 seconds, and let's see if we can actually hear him this time.
Yeah, something weird
Okay.
happened with my mic. I don't
We
know
can.
what that was. But yeah, I think we were done talking about Fritz.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else really we have to talk about at this point?
Nah, we were mostly just previewing tomorrow's
Yeah, I
matches.
think we are about to like close shop anyway. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of action tomorrow again. Hopefully they will actually finish it off. The only real problem is that they haven't finished up the opening round matches, right? So that's like the only setback that the tournament has had so far. But if they, I guess right now the goal becomes to finish up round 3 until Saturday, then that would like put the tournament more or less back on track. And yeah, some players, will be in trouble because of it. Like maybe not necessarily. Well, Zverev, Brouwer are playing Hüsler, Vatanuki, right? So maybe if, I don't know, Hüsler only plays 5 games tomorrow, and then Zverev and Brouwer play a very long match, then maybe it becomes an issue. What's the section that I think Zhang and Van de Zandschulp are playing Fils and Davidovich Fokina, right? So at least that's
Yes.
that's something that the tournament organizers did right, that these 2 matches are the ones that haven't started yet, because at least these guys will have a level playing field in the second round. They might not have a level playing field in the third round, though. But Rune is also not going to play tomorrow, actually, because Arnaldi Karbes-Bena have to finish up first. So yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, it hasn't been that tragic yet. Nothing really that tragic happened yet. When it comes to the forecast, guys, Thursday should be clear, but as I said earlier, I mean, Tuesday was supposed to be clear too. And then Friday should be clear as well. And then on Saturday, there's some rain in the forecast, but not like the whole day. But, Saturday, it could be off. Sometimes, you see the forecast for tomorrow, and then tomorrow it's completely different. So
I think if round 2 is done by the end of Friday, then we're probably in pretty okay shape. Because even if the rain hits,
yeah, and
Saturday,
then
we'll
round
have to
3
do-
by Saturday would be ideal, because then you're like fully back on track. But yeah, round 2 by
Yes.
Friday. Ghosty, I just have my, like, how do you call it, defense as well in English, I guess. The MA Thesis defense on Thursday next week, I think. So that's like the only thing still left for me in my university. Thank you for asking. You've been very involved in in the creative process. Maybe I'll give you like dedication at the at the beginning of the work. I don't know if I'll actually be printing it out. Probably not, but if there was a space for dedications, I'd say to the ghost of Gerlitis. And
What is
and
your topic?
my topic is early American horror movies and how they were influenced by German Expressionism.
Wow.
Rough. I mean, I don't know if rough, but it's fun for me for sure. And my supervisor had no idea about this topic, so I had a lot of artistic freedom, which is what I'm looking for sure. And yeah, apparently Ghosty is calling me Doctor Horror. I mean, I only learned about it today, but well, more like MA horror would be probably more relevant. But maybe I'll do my doctorate one day. Anyway, let's stop talking about that because I'm already blushing. So yeah, anything else that we need to cover, or are we just wrapping it up and saying goodbye?
Well, we covered it all. So yeah.
Yeah, and as I think I mentioned yesterday, on Thursday you're gonna get Nick and Miles doing this show. So make sure you also tune in. I hope the guys will welcome you as as pleasantly as we did the last 3 days. And yeah, thank you to all the guys in the chat, Ghosty, Jake especially, but also the others who showed up. And see you on some other shows, I suppose.
Yeah, this was a fun show. Great comments. Love
If
the
you
energy.
enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.